Welcome back to a special live edition of the Night Report podcast for a basketball post-game show. We haven't done any of these yet this year because honestly, there hasn't been a ton to talk about. And I figured after this game, maybe people will need the time to vent. Rutgers loses at home to Central Connecticut State in a game that they, kept close at points, but they were down for the final 30 minutes of this game to a team that came in. I think Bart Torvik had them 313 coming into this game. I think Ken Palm was a little bit more friendly to them. I think you said they were 296 on Ken Palm?
Yes. Or 297.
297 on Ken Palm.
Yeah.
Rutgers loses 67-54. Just is this a worse loss than the Lehigh loss a few years ago, or would you say that just because of the team they had?
The Lafayette one?
Right? Lafayette, yeah, sorry. Worst loss since Lafayette, right?
Oh, yeah, 100% since Lafayette. Worse than what Lafayette? It depends because that team was more talented, so they should have beat Lafayette at the time. So I would say that one's
junior, but that game was at least back and forth. This game, they closed it to, a single possession a couple times, but they just had no answer. I mean, Dylan Grant didn't have it tonight, and you saw kind of this team not have a good secondary answer. And before I get too far, thank our sponsor FanDuel. Hopefully you listened to us earlier today. We did tell you guys to take Central Connecticut State in this one with the points. You didn't expect outright for them to win, but I thought this game was going to be closer than expected. Tomorrow, I think you should take Rutgers with the points against Ohio State. I think that they're going to keep it close. I don't think they're going to win by 35 points. So, also, if you got one, crack it open because it's going to be a
close enough.
Tough break, tough discussion. Rich, thankfully you didn't go to that game. We have our colleague Craig Epstein who will be joining the media to ask Michael, I'm sure, a bunch of questions he wants to have answered right now. After this one, what were your kind of takeaways from this really ugly loss?
I don't even know where to start. I guess if Dylan Grant can hit shots, the entire team's pretty much screwed. He's carried them in wins over Lehigh, wins over American. Now, obviously, he had some help. Emmanuel Boy had his best game in his career against Lehigh. American, there was some other help, too, from the guards. Buchanan had a pretty good game in that one, too. Badalu's had minutes here and there that are good. Like, he actually carried them a little bit late down the stretch to try to get that comeback going tonight, but that was really it. But when Dylan Grant's off, this whole team just can't win games. They can't score points. They can't score points against a 300 Ken Palm, 300 Bart Torvik team. Like, they're not going to score points against the Big Ten team. Mind you, on the flip side, I'm pretty sure if I heard this correctly on the broadcast, Max Frazier, the forward that dropped 14, that was his first start.
Wow.
So it makes things even worse. You can't play NIL on this one because there's no way CCSU has any type of NIL. And on top of it, like, Pat Sellers is just a really good coach. Alec's been raving to him about me for the past ever since the schedule came out, basically. Calls him Steve Pico of the NEC. But he is a really good coach. He just dominated Rutgers. Like, they just couldn't score a single bucket. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Tariq Francis put up some decent numbers, but Jermichael Davis couldn't do anything. He tried every lineup possible, too. He's throwing out lineups of – it was Lino Mark, Caden Powers, Dennis Badalu, and who else was it? It was someone else as a freshman. It was four freshmen at one point. Oh, and Chris Nawoli, and then Bryce Dortch at the 5. And I'm like, what the fuck is this lineup?
Yeah,
he tried absolutely everything. Caden Powers is out there he basically said, go out there, green light, chuck, like try to hit one. Just goes over 3. 0 for 2 from 3 also. But I mean, no one can score. It's at the point where. And then on top of it all, let's talk about the center position. Like, I've always had moments where it was like, okay, he looked decent. But then Bayfall comes in, Byfall, however you want to say it, and you could see why he didn't play at Kansas State, why he didn't play at Arkansas, why he doesn't play at Rutgers. The minute he plays at Rutgers, it's like the guy is completely unplayable. We were joking around about it in our group chat as soon as he got out there, but it's just brutal. How do you go from a high 4-star, borderline 5-star prospect to unplayable? Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, and in fairness, I mean, they should have seen that coming because he didn't. He played at a grand total of like 70 minutes in his first 2 stops in 2 years in college, and he wasn't injured.
That was that high.
Let's go through some of the high-level stats, though. So Rutgers got 36% from the field today, 21 of 58. 3, they were 5 of 19 They were 7 of 10 from the line. They got out-rebounded by Central Connecticut State 41-37. Rutgers had 10 turnovers and 10 assists. They allowed 13 offensive boards for the Blue Devils. Like you said, Dylan Grant didn't have his best game. He was 2 of 10 shooting, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, 6 points total. Derek Francis had the most points on the Scarlet Knights, but he was very inefficient. 7 of 16 from the field, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. Settled for way too many. I mean, in fairness, Central Connecticut was settling for way too many ugly mid-range shots, but they were just making more of them. Rutgers just couldn't buy a basket tonight. If you look at what Central Connecticut State shot, they were 24 of 61 from the field, 9 of 21 from beyond the arc, 10 of 14 from the line. I mean, this is just like the stuff that we were kind of harping on and being called like, not many people were saying this anyway, but the people who were trying to sunshine pump and act like this is, Peichel's finally getting a restart with the type of lineup and the type of team he wants. Like, these were the things that we were scared about, that we were kind of ringing the alarm bells that, when Dylan Grant doesn't have it, or, on a night where they can't really put the ball in the hoop, like the defense of this team is not going to save the Scarlet Knights basketball team. And I fear that this is kind of going to be more of a trend than an aberration as we get deeper into the season. And looks like we got our friend Larry K here, who I'm sure will have very low emotion takes on this game. But Larry, man, what a tough game to watch.
Extremely tough. And honestly, listening to you guys, it's just, I'm almost glad in a sad way that it happened now instead of getting decimated in conference, because just like you were just saying, people saying, oh, this is his restart and he's going to get his band together and play his brand of basketball. I know he's trying and he wants to do that, but we were just grossly undermanned, and it was evident in the last few games. So for it to come home to roost now, it's the same problems over and over again. This team, I think, is going to struggle mightily in conference. You guys knew it. We knew it. And everybody now, there's no question about it. So it is what it is. We're kind of, in my opinion, kind of a lame duck weird year. But
yeah, this feels like the 23-24 season, but without the pot of gold at the end of the shitty rainbow. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We just have like more ambiguity and more uncertainty than ever through 100%. We know is going to be just nothing but pain.
And you know what, Mike? I think I've been saying it. I think it started that season in a way. We get these two excellent athletes in hand, and all of a sudden, it's like, we're just going to wing everything. And I guess he's trying to rebuild it this year, but maybe a little too late. When you lose, you're just having trouble getting guys in and attracting the right players. And then we can rehash it. We've done it ad nauseum. He needs guys to be in the program for a very long time to coach them up defensively. Some of these guys have been, though, but just don't have the talent or the skill. I don't know. It is what it is. I wanted to call in and just say what's up to you guys, because I know you're slogging through the show, and this is what we have to deal with.
No, feel free to stick around as long as you want.
Yeah, we got to talk about these Euros, dude. Like, they're not. I get it, fundamental basketball and all this. They can't fucking defend. And then Dennis Badalo, I think it was his first two of 3 shot attempts, both get blocked because he thinks he has a bag and he doesn't have a fucking bag.
Bro, and that was the other X fact everybody wanted to talk about. And I think it might have been Aaron on his show just saying, look, I don't want to knock the Euros. I know you guys don't want me to, and this and that, but they're not looking like they're panning out. There was such hype and talk from Pike and that camp about, well, look what we did. We went into Europe and we put this together and put that together. Look, I credit him for trying. It's not just to sit around and bash him, but it just is what it is at this point, and it's just not doing anything,
I mean, Badalo could be your best 3-point shooter all you want, and I probably believe that he is. But when you don't set him up for shots, it doesn't fucking matter.
And Richie, that's the same story.
6 on offense. It's the same. Yeah, you're right.
It's the same story.
I don't know. Maybe change up the fucking coaching staff and find an offensive guru that can come in and actually teach offense. And I get it. Pike's a great defensive coach, great rebounding coach. I mean, you don't see it today, but it's like, Jesus, like someone run a fucking set. Stop with this They run one set basically. It's that double horn set that they call, and it's so obvious what's going on
every time.
And then they ran it into a fake against American basically, and ran it into a down screen on the corners. But like other than that, they don't run anything. Run a fucking off ball screen for once and get a guy open. It's incredible.
They don't run anything. No, Richie, and you, yeah,
like 5 wide with fucking guys that can't shoot.
And I'm tired, Richie, of hearing what skill set this particular piece brings if we don't run anything to emphasize or, what's the word? I don't know, not emphasize, but to facilitate that person's skill set. What's the point? What's the
There's not a facilitator. There's not a point guard that can run the offense.
Good point.
No offense to the backcourt, but there's just not a single point guard that can legitimately run an offense through him. There's not a true guy that you can give the ball to and let him just create his own shot and get a bucket. And on top of it, the big man position might be the worst in the Big Ten. So
it 100%.
Add all three together, and you have the worst team in the Big Ten by far this year.
It's brutal, man.
If you look at KenPom, the adjusted ratings after this game, Rutgers came into this game in the 90s. Richie, you know the exact number.
96.
Currently 96. Currently, they sit at 124 in the Big Ten.
Wow.
By far the worst. So the next closest 3 Big Ten teams after Rutgers, we have Minnesota at 93, Penn State at 90, and then you have Maryland at 67. It's just like nobody's even close to how bad Rutgers is this year.
Penn State is 34 above us. Just think about that. And all we've done is play out of conference cupcakes. Just think about that.
All we've played is like around 300-ish in terms of KenPom rankings. We've gone 0-4 in the last 4 against the spread. If you looked at Ant Wright put a tweet out recently showing where all the strength of schedules rank in the Big Ten, Rutgers was by far the lowest in that metric.
Third to last in all of D1.
Unbelievable.
They look terrible. Yeah, they look terrible against arguably the worst out of conference schedule in the entire country. And now they're going to be playing in Vegas against 3 good teams. Like the third is TBD, but
I was thinking about that.
3.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say. Like now we got to strap up for Vegas. Like who wants to see that? Who's excited about that? Last year with 2 NBA top 3 NBA lotto picks, we were we struggled and barely beat Notre Dame, and now we got to go in with this motley crew. It's just who's out there? Who's out there covering the press conference? That's what I want to know. Who's going to do the post game?
Craig is not there right now.
Is not going to
Craig there?
Yeah.
Craig's there. Jerry Carino's there. There's nobody, I believe, from NJ.com, but that's because Brian's in Columbus.
Yes. That would have been good.
Alex actually in West Virginia driving to Columbus.
Yeah. All right, so we got Craig there. That's all right.
Man, imagine
because I don't. Go ahead, Mike.
Imagine Craig gets the viral question that Pike will go supernova on. Jeez.
I'm gonna love it if he does. I'm gonna love it, and then Fonseca and everybody else is gonna be talking about it. So it's on Craig. It's all on him. It's all on him.
Man. I want everyone to respond in the comments too, and we'll highlight it. At what point in this game did you know it was over? Because I think we all, whether we texted it to a group chat or whatever, what point did you know, oh, there's no chance they're going to win this game?
I texted way too early.
Yeah.
When you guys were texting, because that's when I was in there, when it was whatever it was, mid 50s to 60 something, and there was 6 minutes left or something, and I was just not that I had much confidence before, but I'm they're not digging out of this. This is just trending that way, and I don't care how much time is left. They're not rallying.
I think it was second half early. They were up double digits, and I was yep, nope, they're not going to be able to come back. They don't have the offensive game to do it.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because Rutgers was able to cut their lead down to, I think, a 4-point game right before half. And then almost immediately, if you look at the second half, they have they had a dunk right out of the gate, and then they hit a 3 to push the lead to 9. And at that point, we just weren't playing that great. I mean, obviously we weren't playing that great, but it just seemed out of reach. It seems like this team doesn't have the ability to come back from a substantial deficit against a real opponent.
No.
Stupid Bees says first half he knew it was over. We also have another guest, Rutro, coming to the stage here that we'll have come on now. Rutro, thanks for joining us, man.
Ignore my
how
Christmas
you feeling?
packages.
How you doing? Yeah, I mean, when I know that we are underwater with Peichel's contract because Hobbs just, I don't know, maybe he was shooking him too.
Level. That's where we're at, Rutgers. This is where we're at.
We're stuck with this clown for a while, and he refuses to make changes. I mean, there's a reason why he has the same staff, because nobody wants those three boobs. Yeah. He got us to the tournament. I appreciate what he did, but he struck gold on some under the radar recruits, and he still wants to recruit like that. He's not, yeah, he got Dylan and he got Ace because he had family connections to it. It's never going to happen again with how bad he botched that. This was a joke. This team is so bad, and I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, because we're going to stick with the same philosophy and bang our head into a brick wall for the next how many years.
Yeah, I think he, there was a different college landscape then. You could recruit your 3 stars, and he got 4 stars too. So that whole thing, that was taken apart a little bit when he was trying to profess that, he did it all with 2 and 3 stars. He had some 4 stars and some guys there, but also he had time to sit there, coach them up. There was a 2-year, a sit transfer rule. Guys had to play there for a while. There wasn't the NIL. He's not cut out, I don't believe. I don't think he made much of it. I know there's back and forth about whether he made an effort, didn't. I don't think he ever loved or got cared to get acclimated to this new style of college basketball. And his style, I just don't think is a good fit, because it relies on multiple year development on the defensive end of the floor with guys who are going to buy into that. And I just don't know if at Rutgers at this time, Peichel's the guy to get it done in the new, atmosphere. I just don't feel like he is. Credit to those years, credit to making it fun, credit to the tournament. But we saw some of the same offensive issues even then, and now they're just way too much to overcome, and it's kind of just gotten stale.
And I didn't realize this, but this is the first time Central Connecticut State beat a Big Ten opponent in their 91-year basketball history.
Unbelievable.
They did just beat BC last week on the road, so it's not like this team, wasn't coming in having really beaten anybody this year. Not that BC's lighting the world on fire, but they are, a high major. Here's a good question though from Death Star. Go ahead, Rich.
Real quick, I'll bet you they beat Seton Hall in a couple weeks too.
That's true. They do play the Seton Hall as well.
That should be an interesting one.
Death Star asks a very kind of prescient question. Even if Peichel had proper NIL resources, do we really think he'd win big? I don't think he'd win no matter what. It does feel like there were a very unique set of circumstances that kind of led him to success during the early 2020s with this team. Given he was able to kind of get extra eligibility out of certain guys, given that he was able to keep guys on campus 5, sometimes 6 years. I mean, in the same system, that's just like a formula that doesn't exist anymore. And we've seen his total inability or unwillingness to change, whether it be staff, whether it be philosophy. I mean, last year was an unmitigated disaster with 2 top 5 picks. They brought in 7 freshmen last year, and they almost all left. And what does he do this year? He signs one of the biggest freshman classes of anybody in the power in the high major. So it's clear that not only does he not change offensive philosophy, not only did he not change offensive staff, not only did he not change any staff, he didn't change his approach to how he brings players on either. So it's what are we doing? If we're not going to change anything, what do we expect? Why do we expect different results? What's that the definition of? Anybody?
Insanity.
That's
the thing too. The coaching staff thing. Someone's repeating. The coaching staff thing bothers me more than anything. Just because you're now allowed 5 assistant coaches. It's like football where you're allowed unlimited assistant coaches, but you're allowed 5 in basketball, right? I think it's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And instead of doing going out and adding someone, he promotes who was previously demoted, Steve Hain, back to assistant coach. You go from that, and then you also had a chance at Brett McConnell a couple years ago, and you said, nah, he's a little still too green. I don't really want him. Now he's at Stanford. Now he's probably going to bring Caden Pierce over to Stanford with him, and he was one of the guys that helped build those Princeton programs. And instead, you're going to go hire, and this is no knock on Smoke, because Smoke's probably their best recruiter by far. You also let Carl Hobbs, who's a assistant coach Hall of Famer, walk.
Great point.
And I get he didn't do a lot of recruiting, but I'm sure he helped somewhere. Assistant coach, Hall of Fame assistant coach, helped recruit maybe 2-3 guys to the program. Bay Ndongo, remember him? Pretty damn good at Georgia Tech with him.
Yeah.
Mawat Mag, remember him? He was pretty fucking good at Rutgers.
Yep.
It's just it's mind-boggling. There's too many misses on the recruiting trail too. Now it looks like they have a decent one in Amari Wooten. He's been putting up numbers, but like you go through the classes over the years, and it's just miss after miss after miss after miss after miss after miss. And you're supposed to preach developmental program, kind of what Shiano's doing. But when you have miss after miss after miss after miss, it's not developmental because there's no one to develop.
Yep, totally agree.
Sorry,
we got another. No, you're good. This is what this is for. We got another guest to bring to the stage here in Roy. Roy, what do you got for us?
Oh, nothing, gentlemen. It's just a pleasure to listen to you guys, and been listening for a long time and long-time fan, but just immensely disappointed. Ongoing, unfortunately.
It's tough, man, because at least I feel like there's a lot of frustration with the football program and the basketball program, but at least with football, you see Greg Schiano making changes. He takes accountability. He while he is it is his program and it's in his vision, I don't think he's got the same stubbornness to the extent that Peichel does. And Peichel, I feel like, has not had anybody to push back on him in the last, 3-4 years. And I do think that Kelly Zinn has got a huge undertaking in front of her to figure out how to fix this basketball program without doing what we haven't talked about yet. It's a tough situation.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard, right? I mean, this is major college athletics. There's a tremendous amount of dedication required on the part of the administration that Rutgers has historically not shown. And unfortunately, the fan base also hasn't kept up its side of the bargain. Yeah, I live in Central Ohio, and everyone out here bleeds scarlet and gray, and it doesn't matter whether you went to the school or not. There is this focus on Ohio State athletics that just does not exist with Rutgers, and I find it really sad because I grew up there. My family is from there. You can take the boy out of Jersey, but not the Jersey out of the boy. And it's just one of those things where I will always root for Rutgers, and it's just really hard to watch consistently for the results that they continue to achieve on the field and off, frankly.
Yeah, it's a different world. That's a different Big Ten program entirely. It's hard to compare Ohio State to Rutgers in just about anything. And New Jersey in general, it just lacks support for its own state. There's no state pride. Like even Maryland has, I feel like, more state pride. They have the flag everywhere. It's printed on people's T-shirts, this, that, and a third.
Well,
and
I think there's Jersey pride, but not necessarily.
There is. It's not Rutgers pride. That's the problem. How do you get that? You got to start winning games. And until that happens, like you saw it in 06 and 07, like everyone hopped on the bandwagon. Everyone and anyone that was from Jersey had even the slightest claim to Jersey was rooting for Rutgers those years and got on the bandwagon. But if you're not winning, they're going to jump off.
100%. And interestingly, everyone out here knows who Greg Schiano is. And regardless of even before his time on staff here at Ohio State, everyone I knew that I was a Rutgers fan was rooting for Rutgers. They loved to see that underdog be able to achieve, because it really is like that like American story, right? And it's always been there. The potential has always been there. It's just they've needed to find a way to unleash it. I'm very hopeful for Tate and Zinn to be able to kind of find that missing formula and that alignment between the administration and the athletic department to be able to make that investment, find the support, build the support and actually have a winning program. And you think back to like Wisconsin and Donna Shalala when she made the commitment to building a world-class university on the back of a football team. And that's something that Rutgers really lacks. And it was hindered by the Rutgers 1000 and the ongoing kind of divisiveness of the community. There's this real crabs in a bucket kind of mentality out there that doesn't exist in other states that really have that pride around their state university. But the potential is there. It always has been. Just waiting for folks to kind of find that formula to be able to make a winner and have it be sustained on an ongoing basis. So I'm very hopeful. I'm excited for it. I've grown my kids, rooting for Rutgers, even out here, and so we're, we got our fingers crossed. It's going to come one day.
Yeah, no, I think it will. It's just we've kind of put so many obstacles in our own path and just tripped over our own feet so many times. But Ant Wright asked a question: why don't they play the Seattle kid more? Why don't they play Caden Powers more? That's a good question. On the season, he's got 11 minutes total. He hasn't hit a shot yet, but he's a guy who kind of fits the archetype of a scorer that we badly need. I don't know if it's his defense or what that Peichel doesn't like about him yet, but I mean, we need another answer. We need answers, plural, at this point, because we clearly don't have them in our current configuration.
Can kind of answer that one a little bit. It is mostly his defensive side of the ball. Peichel is very reluctant to play guys unless they can contribute on the defensive side. We saw that with Jaden Jones. Jaden Jones was probably the best offensive player. Well, that's actually a reach because I think Gio was still on the team, but he was a very good offensive player. I mean, there's a reason like everyone raved about him when they saw practices. Everyone thought he would be a double-digit scorer, but he couldn't play defense, and that's really not going to fly when you're playing for Pike. Pike needs defense first. He's going to trust his guys. He's going to trust J. Mike more than anyone, probably. He's the veteran of the team. And then Tariq Francis is B-Knight's guy. He's a veteran in his own right. So he's going to trust those guys to man the backcourt. Now, I do think Caden should play more because, like, we've heard a lot of good things about Caden. Now, Pike didn't let anyone see practice. It was in the dark. We're going to go in the dark. And that's also a big issue in its own right, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But everything was in the dark. But the people that have seen practice, one of Rutgers' like best players in the Peichel era I talked to, I got to see multiple practices. I'm not going to dox him and say who it is or anything like that. But he told me, he's like, that dude, Caden Powers, is a dog. Reminds me a lot of Gio Baker. Has that like offensive scoring ability, can actually create a shot, unlike most of these guys. Now, mind you, like you said, he hasn't hit a shot yet. And that happens. It's pretty might be just fresh
like 5 or 6 shots. On
yeah, freshman jitters. You can add it all together. But I do think everyone's raving about his scoring ability. He was very good in high school at Rainier Beach. He was very good at the AAU circuit with City Rotary. Mind you, City Rotary wasn't that good in the AAU circuit, but he was good. So I think you have to just try something different at this point. I mean, you're trying fucking wacky lineups. Why not just throw the kid out there more?
Yeah, RU Hoops Project said, I've been following Rutgers basketball since 1983. Maybe it's the recency bias, but this might be the worst offensive Rutgers team I've ever seen. And yes, I do remember the Little Page years. I mean, I don't go as far back as you, RU Hoops Project, following this team. Wasn't even alive in 83, but I can't think of one off the top of my head that struggles this much offensively with this level of regularity. And we haven't even played I want to emphasize this a little bit more for those who are just joining us. It's not that we haven't even played a good team yet. We haven't played an average team yet. We haven't played a below average team yet. We've played 5 bad teams according to basically all the metrics. Every team that we've played this season so far is under, I want to say like 290 on KenPom to be when we played them. So we're playing like literally like the lowest level quad 4 teams, and we've gone 0-4 ATS the last 4 games. We have lost by 13 at home to Central Connecticut State, who, mind you, they beat Boston College and they play Seton Hall moving forward. But guys, like, this is going to be maybe the ugliest season in the last, since Eddie Jordan, at least. It's going to be so hard to watch. And if we thought apathy was bad last year towards the end of the year, that sellout streak is going to end soon. I don't know when they're going to finally admit
horse shit.
So
sorry.
I agree. I totally agree. But there's going to be no way that they can claim the sellout streak still going on by December, because I don't see many good things coming out of Vegas. Got to play Tennessee. Tennessee's going to beat the brakes off us. Notre Dame's not great, but Notre Dame's better than us. Whoever we finish in third place with in the other pools, probably going to be better than us.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all. It's rough. I'm trying to look back at like the worst percentage teams from the field, and it's really not like a ton. The 22-23 team was really bad. They shot 43% from the field.
Yeah. Adam Lamparello is making a bunch of comments of this type where you guys are making the same criticisms you have for years. There needs to be a complete overhaul of athletics. Guys, you talk about the same stuff every year. The losses to mediocrity. Zinn is going to make huge changes, and she won't be here for long unless we become highly competitive. No offense, but you guys seem apathetic as it gets. Start demanding change, and Zinn will inevitably start making change.
She's not listening to us.
Listen, I think Kelly Zinn came in with a mandate of improvement. She's not going to be a do-nothing. You've already seen her efforts. Greg Schiano trusts her at this point to maybe, like, she hasn't obviously done it yet, but he trusts her to get what she claims to get done with regard to NIL. And she's made those same promises to Steve Peichel in the basketball program. She's not going to just allow these programs to sink even further. Certainly Greg Schiano has more leash than Steve Peichel because of what he's done recently. Because she identified, I see what you're doing with basically no support. And she also sees what Steve Peichel is doing with basically no support. Let's just call a spade a spade. Greg Schiano saw what support he was getting, and rather than sit and wait for reinforcements and for help from above, he took it upon himself to go raise money in NIL to put together a roster that maximized their capabilities, I'll say. Steve Peichel just waited for people to come to his aid. And when he didn't, he just kind of took what he could. So I think they should be judged differently because of that. It's embarrassing. We're going to be the worst team in the Big Ten this year. And that's kind of where the prognosticators thought we were going to be. And that's certainly looking like we're going to end up maybe the worst Big Ten team in the last couple of years. I don't know. I'm struggling to find anything to kind of give me hope this year in basketball. And that's kind of why we haven't been super enthusiastic, because I think there's a reason this basketball team program didn't want the media to see the team ahead of the year. I think there's a reason why Pike's been defiant in press conferences and on the Rutgers rant. I think there's a reason why, there's been a concentrated effort to, make this season be low key, I'll say, because I think everyone kind of knew that this was going to be the likely outcome.
So not for this season specifically, but I can give you a slight positive. And we've talked about this all over the message boards. And if you're not on the message board, sign up now, nightreport.com. Only $1, but best rumor mill known the man. There is a rumor going around on the message boards right now that Kelly Zinn has raised upwards of nearly 8 figures for Greg Schiano this offseason.
Wow.
So if she has that much to raise for Greg Schiano, you have to think that she's very good at raising money, one. And then she's probably not afraid to pay a buyout specifically. Now, $20 million is the number after the season, mind you. He's at 23.75, I think, if they do it right now, or 24 or something like that. I don't think he gets bought out after season. I don't think he gets bought out during the season either, or fired, whatever you want to call it. It's just you're probably stuck with him for at least another year, I would say, right?
Yeah, and I do. So I think it's important, and it's a shame Larry's no longer here because he actually is a lawyer, which he's talked about. I'm not, revealing personal information that he's openly discussed.
Docs Larry.
So an important part of James Franklin's buyout that people, I think the number was gaudy, but when push came to shove and when, rubber hit the road, his buyout ended up being $9 million because he had a clause that he had to make a good faith effort to seek further employment, whether that be in coaching or whether that be in media. And he had there's a term for it, and I wish Larry was here for it. Basically, it's like a canceling out. So say your next job, say you're making $5 million and you get fired and you're owed a buyout. And the next contract, you're making $4 million. The former school would owe you $1 million a year. If anyone in the comments can give me that term so I don't sound so dumb, but basically an offset. Thank you, Brian. He has an offset clause. I have not read Peichel's contract, nor would I probably have the understanding of the legalese in it to know any of that language. But when push comes to shove, I don't expect whatever the buyout ends up being to be the full buyout. I'll just say that.
That's fair. Side note, Peichel's press conference is live.
Do we want to go right to it?
Yeah, let me just pull it up real quick. I don't have YouTube Premium, so if I get an ad, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it'll be you as well. We'll see what kind of weird shit you're.
See, you know what? You do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this. You do it. I'll send you the link. I don't trust anyone. Through my comments on the pod earlier today, I'm done.
Oh yeah, you're.
I don't want to talk about it. I messed up. I made a mistake.
Are you?
I put it in the private chat here.
Got it.
Yeah. Side note. Real quick before we even start this, if and this is from our intern Ryan DeGazio, if I pronounce that correctly, he believes, looking at the schedule for Las Vegas, the pod system, it looks like it's 4 pods of 6 teams, 4 teams, 4 teams, and 4 teams. Technically speaking, if this is like it was last year, that would be Rutgers pod would be Rutgers, Tennessee, Notre Dame, of course, duh. And then Houston, Kansas, Syracuse would be one of the other 3 matchups.
Oh
Houston, who's one of the best teams in the country, Kansas, who's one of the best teams in the country, and Syracuse, who is decent.
So I don't know who this staffer is, but that's
Mike
like
Broadbent.
the 1,000-yard stare, rather. Poor guy. All right, we're gonna just dive into his presser and react afterwards. So stick around and you can watch with us. Let me know if this sounds good.
Obviously,
good.
Not the birthday I wanted.
Oh, it's his birthday. Jeez.
Compliment. I've known Pat for a long time. I told our guys that's what a championship program. They won the league 2 years in a row. They played that way today. They beat us in all the margins, free throw attempts, rebounds. I told our guys, I don't know if their minds were on Vegas or whatever, but Central Connecticut really good. And to compliment them, and Pat's done a great job there. But we have to obviously play with more energy. We got to play harder. We got to rebound better. I appreciated putting the young guys in, and they gave us great energy. I shouldn't have to do that. But they deserve to win today, and it's on me. We're 4-1. That's what our record is right now, and we have no time now, to put our heads down. We got Tennessee coming up, arguably one of the best teams in the country. So we gotta bounce back, and we got to do it quickly.
Steve, what's happening with this team's 3-point defense?
A few things, and it's really starting to get on my nerves a little bit. A lot of new guys, that's part of it. The scouting report's a big part of it. We have to grow. We have to grow up too in how we approach scouting reports. And again, I have to, get some guys out there that understand, what that job is against every team, and Central Connecticut was one of those teams, they had 5 guys that could make threes. But they got 9 up. The last time they had 9 up in the first half. The other night when we played American, they made 9 in the first half. So obviously our defense was not good at all, and our offense wasn't, and that's what happens in a game like this. But I got to find some guys that can defend the 3 for sure.
Coach, you mentioned the young lineup you went to in the second half, the 4 freshmen and the sophomore Dortch. What did you see from that group?
I mean, they just came and played with energy. Like, we have to go at people. We're not one of those programs, and we don't have that kind of talent on the floor that you could just sit back, and we have to go after people. And we did for those 5 seconds. I was happy. And some of those guys hadn't played, but they're making a case too if they give us that kind of energy and they're ready to go. Bryce always can do some things with us, but again, we got to play better. We got to own our record. I told our guys in the locker room, nobody feels sorry for us, and we're heading to Tennessee and Las Vegas. So we got to find a 3-point defense. We got to find, some better ball movement and the backboards. It all starts and ends with the backboards. And we can't be plus 15 in a game and then minus, we have to be consistent with rebounding the basketball. Some of those were second shot threes. That always happens when you're scrambling off of a rebound missed shot. So we have to do, a better job, and we got to find some consistent rebounders.
Coach, how worried are you about this team heading into Vegas?
I mean, Vegas is Vegas. So, I don't know if any coach is happy with his team. I'm certainly not. We're better than this, and we got to play better than this. But, you're worried as a coach at this time of the year when you're still figuring some stuff out. So, we got a great challenge in front of us, and we got to get off the mat. And that's what we usually do. So we'll see.
Steve, outside of 19 points from Tariq Francis, it was a struggle for just about everybody offensively. How do you explain that, and how do you improve upon that, make sure everybody else gets involved?
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty close to having 5 guys in double figures, so we've been sharing the ball, and we've been getting the ball moving. I did think we missed a lot of makeable shots. We had one possession, I don't know, we get 4 or 5 attempts of layups between DG and E around the basket, and we didn't finish. But, we got to get to the free throw line too. That's a part of this thing. And the margins are so important. It's the free throws, it's the rebounds, it's all that, and you'll score more points. But we didn't stop them, and that's part of it too. You got to stop them. They held the ball, they ran clock, and they scored, and then we came down and we rushed some attempts, and we didn't make the ones that we needed to make, and that's what happens in a game like this, and that's why the outcome is the outcome.
Sure. Steve, you mentioned a couple guys, young guys, came in and gave you great energy. A couple of those guys didn't play till the second half or late in the first half. What was the thinking on the rotation, and will you look at harder changes?
Yeah, I mean, I have to look at everything, but I went with the rotation in the first half that we've won 4 games with, and I just felt that those guys, were our best chance to play with some energy, and I told them to be ready at halftime. I mean, I think the whole team always has to be ready. So I have a lot of faith in those guys, even though I haven't played them as much. And they came in and gave us a spark. So, we'll try to build on that. And I think a couple others are going to get some opportunities too here if they just keep plugging away, But, I wanted to try, getting a little more athleticism on the floor. And that's what Lino brings us. And that's what Chris brings us. And that's what, KP brings us and Bryce. So, I went with that group.
What do you have to do to turn a team like this over more? I mean, they're obviously an experienced team, but they only had 7 turnovers, and that was a point of emphasis for this team coming into the season.
Yeah, I mean, huge. And I will tell you, I watched them play, Boston College. I really think Jay Rogers, a real quality like point guard, 9 assists, 2 turnovers. He was steady. He got in the lane. He kind of got where he wanted to get. I mean, we have to, do a better job, obviously, on the roller who got behind us a bunch of times, and that's where he got a bunch of his assists. But, when we're playing the way we need to play, we'll turn some teams over. Obviously, we didn't tonight, and you need extra opportunities when you're not shooting the ball and you're not rebounding it. So, got to put in some more trapping things, and we got to get our rotations down. But we just have to play better, Jerry. Point blank, we just have to play better, and that's obviously on me. And we have to play hard. hard from the opening tip. And, when you give teams confidence like this and you're building, and this has been a tough building for people to come and play, we gave them confidence right off the bat. And I thought we gave American confidence too the other night. So, we have to get off to good starts with our defense. And obviously we're going to have to against Tennessee.
Yeah, Steve, like we said, you got the Players Era Festival coming up. Then you got Purdue and Michigan on the horizon. What's going to have to change for you to compete with those type of teams?
Yeah, I mean, we got to get better. I mean, it's a long season, guys. It's a long season. You go through ups and downs. Today wasn't our night for sure. And tip of the hat to Central Connecticut. They played a game. I don't know if our guys' minds were on the right thing. Were they already in Las Vegas? I don't know. I have 10 new guys that I'm just learning, but they certainly weren't on the task at hand. And I have to make sure that they understand, what Tennessee looks like and what Notre Dame looks like and what Purdue looks like and what Michigan looks like. We're 4-1. That's what we are, and we better learn from a night like tonight. That's all you can do in a season like this. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. Obviously, this is a down, but we got to get off the mat and we got to make sure that we're ready to go.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you guys being here.
Man, a very defeated sounding Steve Peichel in the presser afterwards. I don't know. What did you think of it, Rich?
So 3-point shooting, or 3-point defense, I should say. I was bored, so I was kind of looking it up because he says a lot of the same thing. And I love Pike to death. I think he's the nicest dude in the world, but the excuses are ridiculous at this point. You're figuring out rotations. Come on, stop this. 3-point defense, you had to know your 3-point defense was atrocious. You gave up the most points, the highest 3-point percentage in every single game to an opposing team other than Ryder. Against Maine, let's look at Maine. Maine hasn't shot above 28% from 3 until they played Rutgers, who they gave up 45% from 3. Lehigh, season high at 3-point percentage. They shot 32, 26. They shot 32% from 3 against a D2 school. Rutgers gave up 37% from 3. American, who we knew was a 3-point shooting team, was struggling this year. Didn't shoot above 30% from 3. They play Rutgers 37.5 from 3. Central Connecticut 43% from 3. It's just the 3-point defense is absolutely atrocious. And it's because guys they're trying to play help defense on it. And then on top of it, you see guys like Dennis Badalo who don't understand defense and are stepping back instead of pressing up on the 3-point line on the arc. And they're just giving up wide open shots. These guys in America get this much space. They're pulling. They don't give a shit.
Yep. We got Danny Breslauer joining live from the train. Danny, thanks for hopping on.
I don't think I ever did this. I don't think I ever actually went audio live from the train because I'm not sure what kind of reception I'm getting. But it is one of those nights, right? I think I just texted you that this is statistically likely the worst loss of the Peichel era, given that they lost to a few quad 4 teams, but never by more than, I think, a possession or 2. And I think the disappointing part tonight is you lost in a few different ways. You just got beat. There was not one way. It wasn't, the rebounding effort or, they're not hitting shots. It was just that quad 4 team was better on your court.
They were up
and I think
the last
that's
30-some minutes of the game.
It's a scary thought.
Yeah, we were.
I mean,
about,
I knew at
what is the
halftime.
worst loss? Yeah. We were. That's something we asked earlier. So, I know it's done was early in the second half. You knew at halftime that it was over.
Yeah, I mean that the first 2 possessions of the second half, I think, kind of changed everything. Right, it went from 4 to 9 real quick, and I think they were kind of hovering at 9 twice. They until later in the game when they got into double figures. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, it had nothing to do with rebounding or, Central's hitting some threes they don't normally hit. It was they're running they're moving the ball. They're switching the sides of the court, which by the way, I didn't expect. Good on Patrick Sellers. They didn't historically run stuff. They were sort of the Peichel, you hang out on the court and dump the ball to the big man and have a good time. And they definitely ran stuff today. And we knew coming in they were pretty good, top 150 defensively or something like that. So that was always going to be a problem. But yeah, I mean, Rutgers and BC, right? Like that's the company right now in high major hoops in terms of, you lose those types of games on your home court. But like, yeah, I mean, looking back, I did a quick KenPom search because of the beauty of that interface. Like, there has not been a quad 4 loss by double figures for Rutgers since Eddie Jordan, which is wild to say, right? Like, I was thinking, like, Lafayette, Hartford, Stony Brook, these were all one possession home losses, like buzzer beaters or one possession home losses. Like, I can't think back. There were a bunch of times in the Fred Hill era where they got smacked by like really good, like half decent mid majors, like Binghamton or someone like that came in and just whooped them. But I couldn't remember a mid major, and I don't know if I could just be overthinking something from the Pikel era, but I don't remember one. Like, there was a couple on the road with like Fordham, but that wasn't even a double figure loss. There was St. Bonaventure on a neutral that probably got into single digits by the end. But like, this is nuts. I did not see that coming. I mean, I saw a close game coming. I thought this was going to be closer than American. But
I couldn't believe the line was Rutgers was a 14.5 point favorite in this game. I bet some money against Rutgers tonight, and I won some money. I don't feel great about it.
Mazel tov. But I mean, I think that I think like at the end of the day, right? Like, the math did say they were 15 plus point favorites, and yeah, Central had a 2 standard deviation shooting night from deep, but like, dude, this could have been way worse. They were like 15 of 40 from 2. Like,
I was gonna say they shot like 38% from the field, and they beat us by 13. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look at American the other night, right? They had 12 threes and lost. That happens sometimes. It's all about shot profile, and it's sort of what I said. And it's tough because, like, you stare down obviously the next 6 games, forget the other rest of the year, the Big Ten itself, but like, you stare down the next 6, and it's just like, forget. Obviously, the postseason is out after tonight, and like, that's fine in some respects because now you just focus on every game and every game in a vacuum. Just forget like the program and where it stands at this point. It's just like every game in a vacuum. And yeah, I remember when I 5 thoughts and like that. It's just like I kind of thank my lucky stars that I decided not to do that this year, and God bless you for not taking it over. So
yeah, I don't have that level of sadism in my blood to have the ability to kind of muster up that kind of energy to just do that every game.
You're hosting a post-game show with 1,000 people after Rutgers Central Connecticut State. You are 1,000% a sadist. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. I am a sadist, but we haven't done. This is our first basketball post-game, and it seems like they're popular because, like you said, there is a ton of sickos in here right now. Almost 1,100 of you watching an hour plus in.
Dude, I did a Spaces last year after that Washington game at like 1:30 in the morning with over 300 people. Like, that was insane. I mean, there is a fan base here. Like, every time Rutgers gets remotely okay, I think it's, in some respects, it's perfectly Rutgers that the most storied 21st century basketball that was played was wrapped around like all the circumstances that occurred: a canceled tournament, a bubble tournament, first 4 because of a loss to Lafayette, the torn ACL by Mag, right? And I think I might have texted you this, Mike, before, but like, in theory, the Pikel ascension began with Corey Sanders at the Garden, and it may have started to end with Mawot Mag at the Garden. So like, in some ways, there's this weird cyclicality of that.
It's like MetLife, but for basketball.
Yeah.
Don't go near it.
Yeah. I mean, in some respects, Corey, obviously that 2018 thing was fun, but like, there's something to be said for the fact that there may not be a path with this crew. Like, by the way, I think Nwuli and some of those guys, they're going to be decent ball players. Like, you saw it a little bit in that 4 freshmen, 1 sophomore lineup. Which, by the way, let's rock with that a little more. By the way, small ball Bryce Dortch 5. I'm like all in. Let's do it. Like, give me all the Bryce Dortch at the 5, and battle out and just shoot shots. And I think I think you know how much I get frustrated about passing up open threes. And what was the 3 PA tonight, Mike? Was it 32, 33, 3 PA FGA?
I think they were like 5 of 19, so they were like 28%.
No, not the percentage. The percentage of threes of shots taken. So it's 19, and how many shots did they take?
I think they took like 58. I don't have the box
60. They 21 3-pointers, 61 field goals attempts.
So like 30%.
Okay, so 33% basically, which is like 7 to 8% lower than it should be. So, I mean, that's the problem. I mean, and by the way, you hit a couple of those, and Central Connecticut loses its momentum over time because that 48-45 is, you're up 4 instead of down 3, and the rack is taking you home from there. Yeah, that's all. I think that's the extent of my takes, and you're letting me speak like I'm giving a eulogy at a funeral. But like, I mean, it's.
Well, you are in all black. I think it's fitting for the occasion.
We
all got black on, actually. Look at that.
Yeah.
My black Rutgers basketball sweatshirt. Yeah. Well, 11:29 is now the Super Bowl, boys. That's all I'm gonna say. For Richie more than others, but it is certainly now the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
They need a win tomorrow night to make it the real Super Bowl. No.
Oh my God! Don't say that. That's not gonna. Tomorrow's gonna be even worse. It's gonna be brutal.
No, I'm not talking about Rutgers. I'm talking about Penn State. I'm saying Penn State needs to win to make it the real Super Bowl.
It doesn't matter. Who cares? They just need to beat them on 29th, and then they get the bowl game, and then we go to the Bronx. We'll get on the train with you.
She's saying it'll be meaningful for Penn State as well.
That's what I'm saying. It's gotta be 5 and 6 for the right to go to Detroit. I mean, it's the only way.
Don't say Detroit. Don't do it.
Oh man, that would be like
torture.
The most like Little Giants ever way to end a season for both our squads. It's like we're both fighting for like the worst bowl that you can possibly attend as a Power 4 football team.
Yeah.
Well, for the record, now you know why I didn't do spaces on the train, because I feel horrible that I'm speaking with everybody around me. So to that end, boys, off I go to Newark.
Appreciate you hopping on, Danny.
Thanks.
Have a safe rest of your journey, bud.
See you, man. Bye.
That was Danny Breslauer of the KTR fame and of the Are You Screw podcast, and also he did a podcast with John Newman, which I can't. Scarlet
Spotlight, the OG Rutgers pod.
The OG, yes. Man, just
this number keeps growing. It's kind of wild.
I did say that in my season preview, I thought they were going to lose one of these gimmies. It's just like saying it and feeling it is two different things. It's like, as a pet owner, one day there's going to be that unfortunate day that you no longer have that pet, and you kind of know that, but once you actually deal with it, it's way different than actually like knowing it's coming. And with this, it doesn't feel quite as strong. I know that's a very downer statement, but man, it's just like I don't know how you can get the fan base back this year. Like, I just
can't.
This is brutal.
I mean, win a game in Vegas, maybe, but and honestly, that's not gonna happen. But
I know that's not gonna happen. But
quietly, like Notre Dame could have an off 3-point shooting night. They're a heavy 3-point shooting team. Shrewsbury's always been like that, but they're either like one of the best teams in the country when they're on, and one of the worst teams in the country when they're off. So there's a chance, I would say, technically, but I mean, looking at the schedule, the season's over before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I did not see that coming. I thought at least it would last till like late December. Maybe you lose that game to Penn against Fran McCaffrey and TJ Power, who looks like a dog all of a sudden. I shouldn't say all of a sudden. He was 5-star in high school, but I don't know. Win the Seton Hall game. That's the only really thing that fans can kind of look forward to. In that game, I mean, all bets are off. It doesn't matter who's on the rosters, as you saw the past couple seasons, but I don't know. It's you're not going to beat Tennessee. And I thought the excuse of using like players are looking ahead to Vegas, like no one's looking ahead to Vegas.
Yeah,
that's such
not a great look.
Crock of shit, I feel like. I'm sorry, but like
it did feel like an ugly loss was coming just from how they played, letting teams stick around way longer than they should have in the first handful of games outside of Ryder. Like it did feel like something bad was going to happen. In Alchemist, 91-31, Rutgers goes on multiple 5-minute scoring droughts through the game. Yeah, I mean, you don't score points, you're not going to win against any opponent, but certainly when an opponent's coming in with confidence and hitting tough shots and you can't hit open looks all night, these kind of losses happen.
I mean, in national perception is even worse. Like everyone's talking about on social media.
Stay away from Twitter right now, guys, because it is
it's not even
to the Scarlet Knights.
Not like a buzzer beater. Like I think Danny said it and someone else said it too, but it's not a buzzer beater. It's not a 2-point loss. This is a 13-point loss to a 300 KenPom team.
Yep.
But you don't want to use KenPom, fine. 313 Bart Torvik team. Like the numbers are off. This is literally the worst loss. Like Danny said, the worst loss of the Pico era by far. That Lafayette one was brutal just because of the talent, but this one, if we're doing like opposing teams rankings wise, this is the worst by far. I don't know how you fix it. I don't think there's an answer to fix it. Well, there's one answer, but I don't think they're going to pay that answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I think anything is possible right now because, I mean, do we think this season's going to get better? Do we think things are going to get turned around? I certainly don't. I think the intention of Kelly Zinn was to come in and get Steve Peichel the support that he needs after this season and get him a roster that's more fitting of the Big Ten. But if he just craters, if this is a 10-21 type season or 10-22, I guess it would be, like after you've seen the trajectory of the program slowly sliding, you know, I think there's certainly seems to be a ceiling on where Steve Peichel can get this program. I think all of us owe him a great deal of gratitude for pulling us out of the basement, pulling us into some level of respectability.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going backwards. We are not moving in the right direction as a program. So if we finish last in the Big Ten after finishing progressively worse each of the last 3 years in terms of our standings, it's going to take one hell of a sell job by Steve Peichel to convince his higher ups that what he's doing will get the job done.
It's a lot of money to buy out. That's the issue too. And on top of it, you're probably buying out the women's coach as well, which isn't that lot of money, but that's damn near like what, 800,000, 900,000 for her. You have to buy out Steve Peichel for $20 million. Now, mind you, again, like you said, you could negotiate a lot of these. Got to buy out Brandon Knight for whatever amount of dollars he has on his contract, because I think he has 2 or 3 more years left. The rest of the assistants are on 1-year deals, so it's not as important. But I don't know. It's just rough. I just don't know if we'll do it.
Yeah, we are about to close out here in a couple minutes, but we have Craig Epstein back from the rack. Craig, we were worried that Steve Peichel might, strangle you to death after a question or strangle somebody to death because he did not look happy. What was the general mood of both the arena and the press conference afterwards in this loss?
Yeah, kind of like you guys talked about. It just felt a little, obviously, I don't think the people are happy that they lost to the 298th ranked KenPom team in the nation. So it was just very down. Honestly, it's just because it's just like you kind of saw it coming. Honestly, when it was like you could just see the game was gonna at the very least be competitive, and if not, just Rutgers just lose outright, which they did. And they had that like brief stretch early in, like they went down early in the second half. But then they put in that that freshman lineup in Dortch, and they provided a little bit of a spark, and they cut it. And then Emmanuel Aguali, I think, hit it like a dunk or he hit like a basket that cut it to, I think, like a 3-point game. And that was as close as it got. And after that, basically, Central Connecticut State just went back up by, I think, like 9, and then 9 became 11, and then they ended up losing by 13. And just, the fact that it's really just the fact that they lost. Well, first of all, the fact that they lost to like 13 to Central Connecticut State, and the fact they only scored, 54 points against Central Connecticut State. It's like outside of Tariq Francis, nobody on this team could really shoot. Because I know Dennis Badalow had 11 points, but he was like 3 for 8 shooting. It's like nobody on this team could score, and it's like just I hate to say it, but we were it's kind of beating a dead horse, but we kind of said it all off season, and we said we basically talked about which out of conference team were they probably going to get picked off by, and some of us were thinking maybe Penn. I mean, Seton Hall doesn't really count because that's going to be
Penn's going to get us too. By the way,
yeah,
Penn's playing
honestly,
really well.
Yeah, so that was kind of the thought, and I don't think any of us predicted Central Connecticut State, but after seeing them beat Boston College, I mean, let's not pretend it wasn't completely off the radar. So, yeah, I mean, Rutgers was, like you said, a 15-point favorite going into this, but just not good.
Yeah, tough game. What was the crowd like throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, they tried the best, I guess. From that, it wasn't I mean, they might say it's a sellout, but it wasn't. Every seat was definitely not filled in the place. So, I mean, they tried when they were cutting it close. That the fans tried to make some noise, but it's just they never. I mean, again, you scored 54 points against Central Connecticut State. Like it's tough to really bring yourself to get hyped when you're struggling again with a team that's barely scraping the top 300 in the nation in KenPom. So it's just like, they did their best, but at the end of the day, it's just this team just does not provide you really outside of that freshman lineup that provided a little bit of a spark. This team didn't provide really anything on either side of the floor outside of maybe Tariq Francis, but it just, And then once it became clear that they were going to lose this game, it's just, people were just pissed, shouting, and just some people were pissed and some people were apathetic, and I think that's probably the two emotions we're going to experience a lot of this year. There's going to be those people that are pissed and people that are just apathetic at this point, because if you couldn't get it done with two lottery top 5 picks, why do I expect that they're going to be able to get it done with this bunch?
So what do we have for final thoughts here? Richie, I'll let you start.
Players era was a 3-year deal. It's technically 1-year renewals. If this team is as bad as it is, I don't see them going back next year. Let's be honest. I don't know what you do. I don't know how
it's
you.
It's not going to be for Rutgers' fault, though. I mean,
no,
Rutgers is not going to cancel it because it's too much money.
It's $1 million gone already down the drain if they don't bring them back. Because you get $1 million. Mind you, it's split amongst the team. You could do however you want with the money, apparently. And Rutgers decided to split it amongst every player, so they get X. I forget the exact amount. I think it's 5 figures somewhere. But I don't know. I think this might be the worst team in the Big Ten. I said it preseason. I know some people had Penn State behind them, but I said Penn State's got a team. We got a guy in Caden Mingo who's a top 30 recruit in the country. They're also in it with his brother, who's a top 2 recruit in the country. Penn State's surpassing you in basketball. That's not even a fucking basketball school. That's like their 4th sport. That's behind football, wrestling, volleyball. Even has more fans.
Maybe even hockey at this point.
Hockey. I forgot they had hockey. I didn't even care about that. Penn State's passing you in basketball. This is bad, and it's the same fucking thing.
And the coach said he would fire himself.
Yeah,
and look
takes accountability. Takes accountability.
Look around the Big Ten for the programs that had bad years the last couple of years. What have they done? Minnesota, huge coaching upgrade. Iowa, Fran McCaffrey is a great coach, but his time had clearly run out. Nico Medved, huge coaching upgrade. Northwestern's got a great coach, even though they, year to year might not make the tournament, but Collins is a great coach. Like every program that seemingly had, Indiana made a great hire this offseason. Like there's so many programs that have been proactive with change, and Rutgers has not.
And it's at the point where you have to be. You have to. Kelly's just is proving that she can raise money. Now, can she raise money for NIL on top of raising money for a buyout? That's the bigger question. We'll wait and see. I think she's going to get a little trigger happy with one of these sports. Is it men's basketball? Probably not. But I do think she's going to want to make her first hire sooner rather than later. There's too many programs in the shitter right now. There's too many coaches that are lame duck coaches that aren't doing it, that aren't able to even compete in the Big Ten Conference. I mean, volleyball gets 2 conference wins a year? Women's basketball just lost to Stony Brook. Just put up a competitive fight against Who the hell was it? It was some shitter school the other day. Hell, they didn't score for the entire third quarter yesterday. Like it's embarrassing. Like what the fuck? Like it's at the point where you have to start making changes, and I think changes are going to come sooner rather than later. President Tate is a big sports guy himself. He's not afraid to make change. Kelly Zinn is the athletic director, his right-hand woman. I was going to say right-hand man, but I guess I'll say right-hand woman. And she's probably ready to make changes. These are people that are used to winning. They're not used to seeing dumpster fires. And that's what it's becoming slowly and slowly. And I know you asked me for a final thought. Now there's a lot of thoughts, but something's got to give sooner than later.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Craig,
Say,
final thoughts?
If you want a kind of a funny story is that so I didn't realize after the game that they changed the press conference room where it is. So I go in. No, it's all good, but it was just funny. I go up the elevator and they changed like the hallway to go into the former press conference room. So I get up there and I'm like, I feel like I walked into the Twilight Zone or something because I had no idea where I was like, no idea where I was like, I've done this like 500 times and I'm like, why am I lost right now? There's 2 floors, there's like 3 floors. And I'm just like, so I was walking around and luckily there was a Rutgers guy around there that helped me out to find the press conference room. But it was just kind of a funny story of me basically trying to find my way to, ask Steve Peichel these hard hitting questions. But, yeah, but I guess final thoughts is just, I mean, obviously we didn't expect it that this would be the game that they lost it to, but it's just like, are we really that surprised that we figured there was going to be some out of conference team that picked them off. It was just a question of kind of who, and it ended up being Central Connecticut State. And I was like, what was that for a second?
Oh, yeah, she jumped up on me.
Nah.
She knows I'm upset and yelling.
But yeah, I mean, it was just a question. It was pretty much, it felt like it's a question of not if, but when. And it came tonight, and it probably came at maybe the worst time because now they head out to Vegas, going to play at least 2 really good teams, if not, Notre Dame's, like you said, Mike, I heard you say better than them. And then it gets easier because then you got number 1 Purdue, and then you got number 7 Michigan. So I mean, right now, like, where are the wins coming from? So I mean, they're 4-1 right now, but I mean, we're gonna blink and by in a week, and soon enough, it's just like you said. It's like you really just have to look at these games in a vacuum because it sucks to say it, but there's not. I don't want to say there's no season, but it's just tough because like where are the wins coming from?
Now the season, if we're talking about a postseason upside, is effectively over at this point. So build for the future, but we thought we were building for the future in 23-24, which is kind of why I referenced it as like okay, we'll get a few guys, as long as we have 2 or 3 guys who we can use in the season with Ace and Dylan, like that'll be a success. But this season, like we don't have anything on the horizon that is, exciting. We don't have really anything other than
of Agbole back.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we don't have anything other than like hopefully Peichel's system will work if we keep him here for another 2 or 3 years and he's able to get guys to their redshirt senior year. Like that is just not realistic. So, and I'm just really disheartened by this basketball program right now. I think we all kind of see where the season is going and it's not going to be pretty. So in Kelly's in we trust, I suppose, to get the change needed, whether she thinks it's Peichel coming back with the change in staff and increased budget, or whether she thinks it's something a little different. But certainly we can't keep on this path because this will continue to happen if we continue to do the same losing mistakes, whether it be from philosophy, whether it be from game planning, whether it be a multitude of other things. We are not directing ourselves the right way with the basketball program. So that's it. That's all I got. We've been here an hour and 15 minutes. We have 1,300 of you sickos in this live stream right now. Go to sleep. Do something to enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to go watch Pluribus because I need something. Yeah, I need something as a palate cleanser for my eyeballs. Pluribus on Apple TV is an excellent show. It's by the creator of Breaking Bad, Vince Gilligan. If you are looking for something to get addicted to tonight if you haven't watched it already. Pluribus episode 4 came out tonight.
Have you watched It Welcome to Derry?
I didn't
Not
like the
seen
first
that.
episode.
Really?
I lost interest quickly. I'm a Landman Tulsa King guy right now.
Landman's great. Another great show that I just finished in a single night was The Beast in Me. It's on Netflix. It's with Matthew Reese. Excellent show. Yep. If you need if that's more up your alley, it's a thriller. The concept is a famous author has essentially, like, if anyone knows who the Dursts are, if anyone's seen I forget what the HBO documentary series is, but basically it's about a guy who everybody thinks he killed his wife, and she agrees to write a book about him, and it's a thriller. It's very good. Check it out. It's on Netflix.
Stranger Things comes out pretty soon, so
November 28th.
It does.
26, I think.
26, maybe you're right. Yeah.
All right, well, that's all we got. Thank you once again for listening. Want to remind you, if you want to get in on the Rutgers football action tomorrow, our sponsor FanDuel, I think the line is at 32.5. I really like Rutgers in that. I don't think they're going to cover that line.
The over-under's off.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm looking at, mind you, I'm not on that app. I'm on a different app, but it says there's no over-under bet now.
I will check that right now before we
Just
head
check
out.
it out real
make
quick.
Sure that's the case.
I won't name this bozo app. I'm going to name the good app, FanDuel. Only FanDuel. FanDuel only.
All right. The latest updated line is Rutgers 31.5 point underdog, 54.5 point over under.
Okay. All right. Still there. Never mind. Take it back. My fault.
All good. Well, thank everybody once again for listening. But for me, Richie, and Craig, this has been another edition of the Night Report podcast, post-game edition, signing off.